We have here verse 14 of the 9th chapter of the Gospel of John. We're in the midst of the discussion in which Jesus has healed a man who was born blind, and because of some perceived technical violation of a rule, apparently, those who were witnesses of this have delivered this blind man to a tribunal of some sort. It's certainly not the Sanhedrin, but it may be some committee that met as a subcommittee under the authority of the Sanhedrin, which was not uncommon. And so they are being presented with this man because there seems to be some allegation of a kind of a violation of the Sabbath rules, and that's exactly what John wants to point out to us here as he makes the point ein. This is the third person singular, imperfect active indicative of eimi, so it means it was, and de, the postpositive conjunction, but it was sabbaton. It was the Sabbath. This is a neuter noun, nominative singular. So it was Sabbath in. The preposition takes the dative, which we have here, the dative relative pronoun, which is the feminine singular dative. So in which day, hemera, also in the dative. So it was the Sabbath in which day, ton pelon, the mud or the clay, this is the accusative. Epoiesen, this is from poieto, to make or to do, this is the third person singular, aorist active indicative, so the object of it, the direct object here in the accusative, ton pelon, the subject of the verb, ho Jesus, so Jesus made the clay, and that really it is what suggests the violation of the Sabbath, that you're not supposed to do work on the Sabbath. There were certain very subtle and rather narrowly construed rules concerning the extent to which healing could take place on the Sabbath, and Jesus had violated both of these by making the clay, by applying it to the man's eyes, and so that's what we have here. The connective kai, aneogzen, from anoigo, to open, I open up. This is the third person singular, aorist active indicative, so he made the clay and opened, and then autu, of him, tus, ophthalmos, the eyes. The fact that autu is in advance gives it a little bit of additional emphasis. So it was the Sabbath day in which Jesus made the clay and opened the man's eyes. And the point of what John's driving at is that really we have two technical violations of the Sabbath. He made the clay, which was some kind of manufacturing production, and then he opened the man's eyes, which was an act of healing, violating the Talmud, certainly not violating the Old Testament. The law of Moses is not in jeopardy here, but the rather restrictive rules that had been worked out in the Talmud are what are actually in view.